Hello, film traveler. Alright, so I gotta talk about Baizhu. Honestly, I really like Baizhu. I do. I think there was a lot of fear with Baizhu that he wasn't gonna apply enough of his element, that he wasn't going to be as necessary or a pivotal role like Nahida, but I don't know. He feels pretty good to me. He's quite comfortable to use. So there are a couple things that are a little bit difficult with him, but honestly, overall, I'm impressed. So let's talk about his talents and what I think of him. The normal attacks. Visually, I love them. I do. Honestly, I could use some acupuncture right now. My back is so stiff. So they look cool, but do they do anything useful? Obviously, they do very, very, very little damage, and they have a super short range. However, I do find on quick swap teams, something like Nilou, it's really great to be able to throw a couple punches, as it were, to apply some additional dendro, especially if you're waiting a second to catch particles or something like that. So I think there's a good use for him. And there are some teams that you can use Baizhu as a driver if you wanted to, and it does okay. Not the best. It is what it is. The elemental skill. I love the elemental skill. Now, it's not always perfect. Sometimes you might have 4 enemies ahead of you and you think 3 of them are going to get hit and it only bounces between 2 of them, so it doesn't apply enough dendro. But to have a skill heal everyone on the team, that is so cool. Maybe I'm wrong here, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any other character that has an elemental skill that heals the whole team upon its cast. The great healers, if you're playing with like Chi-Chi or Kokomi, you have to use their skill and then you have to swap from character to character. And if you're anything like me who likes to keep his team healed up at all times, especially on like a Nilou team where everyone's always losing HP, after every battle I find myself getting Yao Yao out, throwing her skill, and slowly but surely healing each poor team member back to health. So to immediately get a good chunk of healing to the whole team, I think it's great. So I rate this skill A+. But we're all here for the burst. This is the meat and potatoes of this guy's whole kit. It provides a shield, which is great for the interruption resistance. It's not perfect. It's happened to me already, and I've seen other videos where people do get interrupted if people hit you right between when a shield is broken and being created, or if they get hit twice in a row so it breaks it and then they get smacked. So it's not perfect, but honestly I think it does a pretty great job. As far as the dendro application, it is fairly low. That was something I was curious if it was going to be noticeable, but it honestly truly is on the lower side. So you have to think of that when you're using them on teams. If it's a team that requires a lot of dendro application, you do have to pair him with someone else. Pair him with Nahida, for example. A few teams, it can work just by itself when you don't need too much application. On a Sino team, I feel like it's great. Honestly, using Nahida and Baizhu together on a team with Sino elevates Sino, which is such a welcome addition because Sino was one of my most anticipated characters. I loved Sino from the beginning when I first saw his character existed, and I was waiting and anticipating his character so much. And he finally came out, and everyone was like, he's kind of mediocre. He's okay, I guess. But now, I feel like he genuinely competes well in the Abyss. There's still a few things about Sino that I struggle with, especially if you're playing in like open world, because you have to use his elemental burst to do any damage at all, but then you kill everything so fast that you don't recharge the burst, so it takes forever. So, I don't know, he's kind of like a Abyss-only character, or a boss-only character. But anywho, getting off track here. The healing on Baizhu's burst also feels fine. It's not perfect. I definitely have times on my Nilou team where I've been running Mona as kind of the driver, where she does walk away at the end of a battle a little bit hurt, despite having the shield and the healing up. And that might just be because I don't have it a high enough. I've only got it to level 6, so this, in my opinion, could change once I finally get a couple additional levels here. But I think it's great. I think it's fine. The biggest complaint with this burst is obviously going to be the energy cost. So I'm running Baizhu with prototype Amber, and it definitely does a decent job helping with the energy cost, but I still feel like I don't have enough energy. My Baizhu has, I think, 188 energy recharge. That's all I managed to get from my artifacts, and I feel like he could use just a little extra, or I need to keep refining the prototype Amber. I have it to level 3 right now, and I'm just so stingy with those billets that I don't want to use more, but it might be worth it just to get the consistency out of getting this burst up as often as possible. But overall, I rate the burst really well. All right, this passive talent, 5 Fortunes Forever. When a character's HP is less than 50, Baizhu gets a healing bonus. That's fine, I guess. When the HP is equal to or more than 50%, Baizhu gains 25% dendro damage bonus. I am pretty confident this is so negligible, so unnoticeable, that it's really worthless. Overall, I think that this talent is not contributing that much to his gameplay. This one, however, is quite useful, so characters who are healed by the Seamless Shield will gain the Year of Verdant Favor effect. So basically you can increase your Burning Bloom, Hyper Bloom, Burgeon damage, as well as your Aggravate and Spread damage. There have been a lot of people who have calculated exactly what this does for you, and for me, I just feel like it's a good boost. There are times when it is competitive with Nahita's boost, times when it is slightly better than Nahita's boost, and times when it's slightly worse. I often pair those two on the same team, so I get the best of both worlds, and I think it's pretty fun. It's great. So I think this is a great talent. Works well. Now, interacting with harvestable items to heal your current and active character. Love it. I love it. I don't know why, but the immersion of this passive talent is something I would love to see out of so many more passive talents. I know they often try to tie them to the character, but a lot of passive talents just feel so wasteful to me. And this one, it's like on the one hand, this is pretty useless. Like, is this really a valuable thing? No. But to go grab an apple and feel like your character just ate that apple and healed themselves a little bit because of this talent, that apple a day will keep Baizhu away. S tier, love this passive talent. Constellations, getting an additional charge. Honestly, it's probably not worth it, but there are times when I've thought it would be nice. It would be helpful just to get a few more particles. I say it's okay, not great. Constellation 2, I think is super cool. I kind of wish that I could just get it. I wish I had all this money and I could just get more of these constellations, but I'm so poor. But I think it's really cool. So you get additional dendro application, a little bit extra damage if that even matters, a little extra healing, which you really don't need, but I still think it is cool every 5 seconds. It's just nice to have. Constellation 4, getting an 80 elemental mastery. Kind of depends on the team. It's not that big a bonus, but it's also not terrible either. It's not like a complete waste like some people's Constellation 4. I'll say it's okay, but I mean, for a Constellation 4, for spending this much money on a character, no. It's not worth it. And Constellation 6, you get to do a little more damage, get some HP scaling, and you get more application, more dendro. I haven't seen this one in action. I need to go find a video of someone actually using this just to see if it truly makes that much of a difference. Part of me feels like it probably won't. I would say probably not worth taking Baizhu to C6 unless you truly love him and you are incredibly wealthy. I personally think for weapons, prototype Amber is like the go-to. I know some people are using Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer, and I think there are specific teams where that could be useful, but for me, just to get that extra energy is so important because I didn't roll enough energy recharge in his artifacts. As far as artifacts right now, I'm running Vurakaash's Glow to get an HP plus 20, and then I went with Emblem of Severed Fate to get an extra 20, and my Sands is energy recharge, so even with an energy recharge Sands and this energy recharge 20%, I still didn't quite get as much energy. And I might have to just keep farming some of these artifacts, see if I can get something a little bit better, but for now, this is where we ended up. This is what I have. I don't know that any of the 4-piece sets are truly game-breaking on him. Noblesse Oblige can be useful if you've got characters that actually care about the attack scaling. If he's the only dendro character on a team, it's useful to put him on Deepwood. But for me, I'm honestly most of the time running him on a double dendro setup. So for me, that just hasn't been worth it, and getting this extra 20% energy recharge is necessary. So where do I rate Baizhu? It's obviously too early for me to really give him a solid rating, but he feels great. I think he's a great character. Is he a needed character? No. I think you can get away with using Yao Yao. If you pulled Nahida, if you didn't pull Nahida, save for Nahida. But if you have Nahida, if you have Yao Yao, you're pretty well covered. I do think he helps consolidate. He makes some teams run a little bit smoother than Yao Yao. If you have Sino, he's so good for Sino. I love that new team. I cannot express enough how I feel about that new team. So would I hire Baizhu to be my doctor? Yes. Do I need a doctor? Yes. All right. That's all I've got for today, and I'll see you next time, traveler.